Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. The world of angling is not one in which you associate with infighting and controversy, and yet that's exactly what it has now, infighting and controversy. And this all comes as the ladies' angling team have been presented with a man who's just been foisted upon them. He wanted to join, he wanted to become a lady angler, and so the sports governing body has let him and picked him for the England team. In response, half the team walked out. They're no longer playing, or angling I suppose, for England. They say there's no personal grudge, but they just don't think it's fair. He's taking the place of a real woman, and of course that upper body strength gives the team an advantage, which is unfair to other teams competing against them. They think that it shouldn't be allowed. So now what does British angling, the governing body do? Do they double down and insist that he goes ahead and then have to pick 3 not as good women to join him? Or do they back down and say, sorry, you can't join, and get the original team back? It's a difficult decision, but it's one that should never have been made in the first place, because it's quite clearly wrong to have a man in a physical competition against a woman. We'll take a look at this. So half of England's ladies angling team quit after a man with hands like shovels, who used to be a rugby player, is selected to join their squad for a physically demanding fishing championship. The 3 of the team of 6 stepped down after Becky Lee Birtwistle Hodges, not his real name, was selected. The team is defending last year's gold medal in the Home Nations Championship and is now going to have to give that up. So half the England's lady team have quit in protest after a man was selected to join the squad for a major competition the Mail on Sunday can reveal. 3 members of the 6-song squad stepped down after Becky Lee Birtwistle Hodges, who was born male and was named for next month's physically challenging Home Nations Shore Fishing Championship. Now, this is a man, he's got the male strength. He was a rugby player, so he's going to be a very well-built, strong, physically strong man going in to a sport that is physically rigorous. It requires a lot of strength, a lot of stamina. You're casting out, you've got heavy fish with strong currents, heavy equipment. You're wading deep in water. It's something that you require strength for. And these women have trained. These women have worked hard. They've pushed themselves to the limit. It's like any sport. It isn't just standing there with a stick and a bit of string. There's a great deal of physical strength needed. There's a lot of challenge, It's not angling is not a sport I particularly do follow or in any way like that, but I am aware about how much effort is required for shore fishing. And so for a man to come in and do this is quite clearly a complete advantage, given his sort of physicality, his mental, his physical strength, his ability to, sustain stamina far longer, bigger muscles, that sort of thing. Physically bigger as well. I mean, there's a lot of it to do. And so these women have quite rightly, in my opinion, said, no, we're not doing it. We're putting our money where our mouth is, and if you pick him, we're off. And they've picked him, and they're off. And so that leaves 2 other women sitting there. Will they go? They may well. They may well go. But it's telling that what happens here is that the ruling body has imposed upon these women a man. They weren't asked or consulted. Here's a man. He's now a woman. Deal with it. And they dealt with it perfectly well. They got up and to a woman walked. Correct procedure. And when he's standing there alone and wondering why nobody will play with him, perhaps he'll consider that being a man against, in a physically demanding sport against women is not a good look. Anyway, there has been opposition to the former rugby player, Birtwistle Hodges, competing with England since 2018 when he was first selected, with suggestions that other nations snub the team over claims that his strength advantage is unfair. The sport of shore angling requires competitors to battle against strong winds and currents. The transangler, that's a strange word, isn't it? The transangler, who one former teammate described as having hands like shovels, was the only member of the team to catch any fish during a competition in rough weather earlier this year that was held by the governing body at the Angling Trust to select the final England team. Now, the team's captain, who was among those who quit, has told the Mail on Sunday that she informed the Angling Trust bosses she would rather have a rubbish woman on the team than this man. And there he is. Last night, Heather, 66, who's asked that her surname that be not published, said, "Our decision to pull out of this year's Home Nations was difficult, especially as we should be defending our gold medal." She said, "I've been an international angler for 22 years. The sheer effort and hard work, making so many sacrifices for the love of my sport, and it has come to this." Of course it will do. And it's not just angling, it's all sports. It's cycling, it's swimming. All these sports where these men, who aren't very good at their sport as men, think they want to be winners. So if they, as men, go and compete against women, they're going to be at an advantage. And they are, and they win. And it basically reduces the opportunities and freedoms for women to compete at an international level, or at any level. You can lose vast amounts of money, vast amounts of opportunities, educational opportunities for the young when they get, scholarships could be based on this. It's this sort of thing. And so these men, these inadequate men, just want to do this for their own personal, feelings about they have their feelings. They want to win. They want to be a winner. They want to be successful. And they don't care who they are damaging in the process. Anyway, she's going. She said male-born competitors have far more upper body strength, which we know. This is the thing across all the other sports that we've covered on this. This is such an advantage, with the ability to cast longer distances than any woman, and they have the capability of doing this while using more powerful and heavier equipment. Not to mention the extra strength he has wading in and out of the surf or walking through mud and rocks, and the stamina to keep this going for 4 or 5 hours. And then basically it's just going on saying that the other things that are going on within the sport there. But it is absolutely wrong that a man should be allowed to compete against women in a physical sport. In some sports it's perfectly fine. For example, horse riding, horse racing, dressage, those sort of things involving the horse. It's the horse doing the work, so there's no skill advantage. What I find is a very odd one is snooker, and why they have a women's snooker tournament, because there's no physicality in snooker. It is about skill, sheer skill, and I think that women should be able to play against men in snooker, but they don't. For some reason, they won't allow that. I don't know what it is, but there are, it's not a sport of strength. It's a sport of skill, and so therefore it should be. Chess, it's not physically demanding. It's a sport, but it's not physically demanding. And yet, when men and women, they can play equal on the board. It's there. Any sport where there is no physicality required, fine. Have it mixed. Have men, women, trans. It doesn't matter. But the moment there's any kind of physicality, it absolutely is important that whatever these people call themselves, they're still physically men, and they should not compete against women. It's wrong, it's unfair, it's cheating. And just because they are rather inadequate men. And I shall finish there and come up. Now, we've covered this in the various sports. We've had the Emily case in cycling, where he was told he can no longer cycle and said, "That's so unfair," stamps tiny feet and walks off. We've seen it in swimming with Leah Thomas, just outperforming every woman in the pool because of his big manly frame, being able to swim much faster than the women. It's not surprising, and it's happening time and time again. And in some sports, it's not just cheating for the advantage you get, but it can be physically harming women in the likes of contact sports such as football or particularly rugby, where that male advantage could actually endanger lives. And so it is right that the various bodies are taking steps to protect the physicality and the general sporting nature of their sports by banning men from competing directly against women. And I think the Angling Trust here, that's the governing body, needs to do the same. It's not, course fishing where you're standing by a bank. That I can see, that's fine. Men and women can compete equally. But something as physical as this, so rigorous, so hard, so physically demanding, it's got to be a woman-only sport, and biological women only. You cannot have trans in there. What's stopping this man competing against the other men? Who knows? Is it because he's not very good and he can't win against proper men? Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows. He knows. He knows. Anyway, I shall stop there. I shall finish. I shall round off, and I shall say thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, stay out of cold water, and goodbye.